What's going on, guys? Lewis here with Precision Camera in Austin, Texas, and today I'm with Cecile playing with the Fuji X-Pro3. It's pretty cold out here, so with the magic of video editing, I'm going to send us back to Precision to talk about the specs about it, and then we'll come back and do some shooting. All right, so let's start talking about the build quality on this, because there are some major upgrades that got done, specifically talking about the titanium plates that are on the top and bottom. And you're also going to get Duratech coating on 2 of them. You get 3 different colors. You get black, you get Dura Black, and you get Dura Silver. The 2 Dura color ones with the protective coating are super scratch resistant and come in at an extra $200. It's completely weather sealed and has that silent shutter that we're used to in the Fuji world. It's very quiet, so if you're out shooting in the streets, you're not gonna be causing a lot of noise and you're not really gonna be drawing a lot of attention to you. Outside of losing the LCD in the back, which we'll talk about later, we do actually lose the arrows, the up, down, left, and right arrows, and are left with just the joystick. But after shooting with it for a couple of days, you get very used to it and it's very responsive. I was able to catch on to it really seamlessly and didn't even miss it. As far as other parts of the build quality, you do get 2 UHS 2 dual SD card slots, and you're left with the same Fuji batteries that you're all used to that are also going to work across the E series and the T series Fuji cameras. However, so in the X-Pro 2, you were able to get 280 shots roughly out of 1 full battery, but on the X-Pro 3, you're going to get 370, and that's just even with the same battery. The Optical Viewfinder also does have a couple of changes, nothing super drastic, but you do get a little bit more of a field of view, and you do get a little bit better of an LCD screen. That's, you know, using the Optical Viewfinder is a lot of fun, and if you're used to it, getting that little bit more reach does make it worth it. Also, if you are a regular shooter with the Optical Viewfinder and you play around with this lever a lot, if you press and hold it back, you get access to see frames for different focal lengths. So you can kind of measure up your shot even with an Optical Viewfinder. And the most obvious looking big difference coming from the X-Pro 2 into the X-Pro 3 is the hidden LCD screen. So on the outside, you're gonna get a roughly 1.5 inch LCD that's gonna be a little dimmed, and it's actually gonna stay on sometimes when you turn it off. And you're gonna be able to see what film simulation mode, which we'll talk about the film simulation modes in a little bit, but you're gonna get to see which film simulation mode you're in, what ISO you're in, as well as a couple other things like white balance. You can also cycle through them, or you can change it to be just a general display that'll show what shutter speed you're at and, you know, just your basic drive information. The hidden LCD is just what you'd expect it to be. It's on the inside. I know some people were finding that to be a negative. I see it as a really big positive. If you want the LCD, you know, there is the X-T3, but I think for the X-Pro format and it being kind of the stay in the experience, stay shooting, no chimping, that definitely speaks to that style of the camera, and I see it as completely a positive, and it really keeps you shooting and keeps you enjoying shooting. So the X-Pro 3 is also going to come with the version 4 of the X-Trans sensor, and it's going to have a 26 megapixel sensor. You're going to get a burst rate of 11 frames a second, and you're going to get pretty solid and very fast autofocus and eye autofocus detection. It works really well, surprisingly well. I shot with the X-Pro 1 for a very long time, and coming into this, it feels like a whole new system. And one of the big reasons we go into a Fuji system is for the film simulation modes. Most of the time with our other cameras, we'll put it in a color profile like standard, maybe a vivid or black and white, but most of the time a lot of us are shooting in RAW and color grading in post. Well, the Fuji X-Pro 3 and most of the Fuji systems are going to really reward you for slowing down and creating on the spot. And we get great film simulation modes like Provia, Astia, Velvia. You get the rich black and white of the Acros as well as the regular black and white film simulation modes, and those are all really great and you should take advantage of them. But on top of that, if you go another step further, you get tone curve adjustment, you get clarity and sharpness, and you could really create in the camera. I mean, this thing is the king of JPEGs. It's really, really great and really lets you creatively make decisions on the fly. Another feature that isn't really found in a lot of other cameras but comes in and works really well in the Fuji. I know today's a cloudy day, but if you go out and have really blue skies, you have a color chrome FX blue that's going to richen those blues and get you really nice skies. And if you're a black and white shooter, you also have monochromatic color, which can add a tint to your black and whites. So I like to shoot warm black and white portraits, and I can adjust that. I can make cool tones, warm tones, or mix them up and get creative with it. And a couple of the other things that Fuji really does well and shines through with the X-Pro 3 is the multiple exposure, that now you can stack up to 9 images, and you do get HDR that automatically combines the images in camera, and it stacks it really well. It honestly does. And it does also leave the images for the HDR so that you can adjust them yourself in Photoshop if you'd like to do that too. So yes, this camera is very stills focused, but that doesn't mean we're left without any video features. You're gonna get 4K at 24 and 30, you're gonna get 1080 at 60, and you are gonna have a slow-mo option to go to 120 at 1080. All pretty solid stuff. There are also some bigger features like F-Log. You're gonna get a tally light, you're gonna get zebras to check on, and you're also gonna get a microphone jack. And that's where the downfalls begin. The microphone jack is gonna be the 2.5 version, not the 3.5. There is no headphone jack and there is no HDMI out. So you do get really cool video features, but it's not supposed to be a video camera. This is really gonna fall where there's still shooters that sometimes wanna shoot video and still have good quality. And if you do wanna keep the film simulation modes, I really think that that's where the meat of it is. If you want, yes, you can use the F-Log, put on the LUT that you want and get great color. But take advantage of the Interna, the great cinematic film simulation mode that's in there. You can also use Velvia, get really punchy colors. And that's something that all other cameras don't give you that kind of an option. So the final question is, where does it fit in the Fuji lineup and who is it really intended for? Well, I think if you're already a Fuji shooter and you shoot something like an X-T3, this is gonna be a great second camera. It's a different experience than the X-T3 is and is a lot of fun. If you're, let's say, a wedding shooter or a portrait shooter, it's gonna work out really well for that too, because it's fast in the autofocus and is very capable of doing most professional level things. You get some really incredible images and you really just have a good time shooting. I think whenever I play with Fuji cameras like this, it brings me back to why I started shooting photos in the first place. And if you never have shot on a Fuji before and haven't used the Optical Viewfinder or haven't used the film simulation modes or just want to make creative decisions while you're out and about shooting pictures, this is a really great introduction for that, and I think it's gonna turn a lot of people and really introduce them into the Fuji world, because it is a little bit different than some of the other stuff we're used to. So come stop by Precision Camera, check it out for yourself, buy one online at precisioncameraatx.com, and I will see you guys on the next one.